But I think over the 5 to 10 years, I do think we'll start to see some rules that change the game and enable the system to proliferate. That being said, though, I think we don't need as much regulation as people say. There's all this harp and we can't operate unless we have regulation, blah, blah, blah. Bitcoin is operating perfectly fine. It does not need regulation to enforce who's running the nodes, who's running the miners, who's transacting. What we do need is some comfort for novel business structures to exist, things like DAOs. That's where I think, and that's where I hope to play an important role in stewarding policy forward. And one really good book that I've read is called The Company, and it's about the history of the joint stock corporation and the limited liability company. Because if you look at what organization has made the biggest impact on human history, you could say the church, you could say the state, the government, but companies have a really strong argument that they have been the most important innovation. And what do companies do at their core is they facilitate economic activity amongst organizations of people in a much more efficient way. And things like DAOs, technology like crypto, now can do that in a way that was never before possible. And so to me, I think there are existing rules that work. There is some room for improvement of the public policy, but ultimately, I think we can build a system given the rules we have now. If they adapt to effectuate better, more effective systems, that will be an enormous advantage to any state that implements those rules, because you're essentially taking the brakes off and allowing much more effective formations of capital. And you're essentially freeing people to build in a way that they never before could, just like the internet provided an ability to communicate in ways that never before would have been possible. Blockchain does that with value. And I think over the next 5 to 10 years, I hope to play an important role, or at least a very, very small role in that. Whether it's interviewing people and getting their perspective on things, or working on a policy side as well. And hoping to continue to have conversations like this, Zach, because I really admire the work you do. I think the Web3 and Me With Me podcast is great.